Welcome to Rob Schmitt tonight. One thing you can count on, what's best for you and your family is probably one of the last things the D.C. political machine is working to accomplish, which is why there's a healthy skepticism of what we saw this morning when a staggering majority of both parties joined together to gleefully pass a bill that would force Chinese company ByteDance to sell TikTok or face a U.S. ban on this popular app. There's a good chance you don't know what TikTok really is. You probably don't use it very often. But it is the most ADD-friendly social media app ever created. It's perfect for kids who can't focus on anything for more than 12 seconds. The desire to ban this app ostensibly comes from a good place. The Chinese are hoarding data on Americans with this app. There are fears about the Chinese spying on Americans with this app. But also that TikTok is far different here in the U.S. than it is in China, where it was developed. The Chinese version is excessively healthy for Chinese culture and for their kids, filling them with patriotic ideals, teaching them skills. TikTok is very informative and healthy in Red China, whereas the American version is filled with a lot of mind-numbing nonsense, soft-core nudity, and quite a bit of far-left ideological propaganda, as you might know, including a lot of gender ideology like this.
Kids as young as 3 and 4 are actually aware of their gender identity, even if they don't have the language for it.
This is a tool I use to teach students about gender and sexuality.
This has been my first year in preschool with a class of my own, teaching alongside another queer neurodivergent educator, and we have been rocking our T's class. We've been talking about gender and skin color and consent and empathy and our bodies and autonomy. It's been fabulous.
So aside from that, which in truth and fairness can be found on all social media, TikTok's reputation suffers because it's helping to worsen a major problem that we have. Our kids are all hooked on their phones. Your kid sits and stares at a phone or a screen all day long, and TikTok makes this a lot worse. TikTok is probably the most addictive one there is. Studies show memory loss, depression, anxiety in kids that use this app. Plenty of headlines about the damage it does. But in truth, none of that actually changes if ByteDance sells TikTok to an American company, because it's very profitable the way it is. Our kids aren't going to be any safer. The government just says our country will be. The same thing they said when they passed the Patriot Act, and our surveillance state was supercharged in almost no time. The question is, what else comes along with this legislation that House members so excitedly passed today? There are two things that should concern you, and the first is people like Nancy Pelosi getting really, really excited about passing any bill. That should terrify you. Watch today as some of the most duplicitous, self-motivated people in Congress could barely contain their zeal for passing this bill.
This is not an attempt to ban TikTok. It's an attempt to make TikTok better. Tic-tac-toe, a winner. A winner.
Our intention is for TikTok to continue to operate, but not under the control of the Chinese Communist Party.
Give this administration and future administrations the authority to respond to future national security threats.
Today, we're sending a message to the CCP that we are going to deflate the 140 million spy balloons that they have installed on American phones. We must act and pass this bill today.
Do you really think these people are this motivated for the reasons that I just explained, or can you smell something nefarious going on? Which brings us to the second concern, the fact that some of the most conservative people in Congress, not all, in fact, only a few, members who hate China, members who hate TikTok and what it's doing to our culture and our kids, some are standing in strong defiance of this bill. In addition to about 50 Democrats, in all fairness, who voted against it, 15 Republicans did as well. And in that group, we find Thomas Massie, Greg Steube, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Andy Biggs, and others. That's an excessively conservative, if not in some cases libertarian group. Over in the Senate, Rand Paul called this bill a disturbing gift of unprecedented authority to Joe Biden. Thomas Massie said this today on the House floor.
We don't need to be protected by the government from information. Some of us just don't want the president picking which apps we can put on our phones or which websites that we can visit. We don't think that's appropriate. We also think it's dangerous to give the president that kind of power, to give him the power to decide what Americans can see on their phones and their computers. To give him that sort of discretion, we also think is dangerous.
So the dangers of a bill like this at a time when our own government is so willing and capable of lying to us for political reasons cannot be ignored. Remember, the intelligence agencies told us that the politically destructive Hunter Biden laptop and its contents, revealing the Bidens as very sleazy influence peddlers in very shady countries, that was dubbed Russian disinformation by your government. The New York Post, a newspaper nearly as old as this country, was accused of doing the bidding of the Russians by your government for simply reporting the truth, and your government knew that it was the truth. So if this bill is passed, what will Joe Biden be able to do to a media company after the intel community makes another ridiculous claim to protect him to keep Trump out of the White House? And of course, the media will throw all their weight behind it and dupe mainstream America again into believing that all of this is normal and what they're doing is right. What kind of powers would be gained here from a bill like this? Recently, we've seen many politicians slamming Elon Musk and X as Russian propaganda simply because Musk entertains options that could end the war in Ukraine without dragging it out for another 5 years. The idea of giving more power to a government that lies the way this one does is very concerning to all of us.